Race-goer, 32, died 3 days after falling ill at Royal Ascot, where a first aider working there for her first time discharged her, inquest hears. A mother of 2 died 3 days after falling ill at Royal Ascot Ladies Day, where a first aider with just 8 days training discharged her, an inquest heard today. Nicole Mitchell, 32, of Surrey, collapsed after drinking alcohol with family and friends on one of the hottest ever days at the annual racing event on June 21 last year. She was seen and discharged by a British Red Cross first aider with just 8 days training at the races, which are attended by the Queen. Mrs. Mitchell died at St. Peter's Hospital in Chertsey, Surrey, 3 days after being sent home from the Queen Anne Medical Centre at the grandstand. A post-mortem examination revealed she had an undiagnosed arrhythmia, an irregular heartbeat, that had caused swelling to her brain and then a cardiac arrest. The incident happened on one of the hottest ever days at the annual racing event, thought to be the first time men were allowed to break tradition by removing their blazers because of the heat. Nearly 300,000 racegoers flocked to the week-long racing festival at Ascot, Berkshire, in 2017. Today Richard Tyler, event planner for the British Red Cross, which is contracted to provide first aid by the race organizers, said the volunteer who treated Mrs. Mitchell only had 8 days of training. The inquest heard British Red Cross provided 25 first aiders split between 3 medical centres at the races, which can see, treat and discharge patients without supervision. But a nurse who was stationed at the same medical centre told the inquest she would not treat patients for alcohol-related problems because she was not qualified. Mr. Tyler said each volunteer would undergo 8 days of training before the event and report to a team leader with advanced first aid training. British Red Cross nurse Ruth Beck and specialist paramedic Adam Bailey were also stationed at the centre, and 6 doctors were also on duty at the Royal Ascot on the day the inquest heard. Mr. Tyler said, "I think overall we have 25 first aiders. Now the distribution of the 25 first aiders throughout the day, it could depend how busy each post is." Assistant Coroner for Surrey, Karen Henderson, asked him, "Someone who is trained for potentially 8 days is able to see, treat and discharge a patient without any supervision whatsoever?" He said, "Only if they followed through their entire training protocols and got to a stage where they see as being safe reason for that patient." Dr. Roger Galt said there were 6 doctors at the site, 2 for attendees and 4 covering the races, but none were alerted to Mrs. Mitchell collapsing. Ms. Beck said in a statement she did not remember seeing Mrs. Mitchell on the day, but added she would not treat health complaints directly due to drinking alcohol, as I'm not qualified to discharge such patients. If I was asked to care for someone who was or appeared intoxicated, I would have to refer to the team leader at the medical center. Mr. Bailey, of South Central Ambulance Service, said in a statement read out to the inquest that he did not remember treating Mrs. Mitchell either. It read, "I remember that the Wednesday was one of the hottest days at Ascot, so much it was one of the first times men were allowed to remove jackets because of the heat. The 2 main ailments were alcohol and also the effect of the heat." He said patients who were discharged from the Queen Anne Medical Centre would have been observed by a responsible adult and told to call non-emergency NHS number 111 if their condition worsened. The inquest was adjourned until tomorrow.